Welcome, Curious Minds. Today we're diving into a provocative idea, something that could really shift how we view career success and, well, the skills that actually matter. Forget what you thought you knew about traditional paths, because we're uncovering why the PhD is the new MBA.
It sounds bold, doesn't it?
It really does. But I think you'll find it incredibly compelling as we unpack it. Our deep dive today is inspired by this fascinating article from Shivaram Rajgopal. He's a professor at Columbia Business School. And he's watched firsthand how this lightning-fast rise of AI is making a very particular set of skills absolutely indispensable, skills often honed in, rigorous academic work.
And what's truly compelling here, especially I think for you listening in the scientific community, is just how universally applicable these insights are.
Right.
As someone involved in biology career insights, I see this constantly. It's not just some interesting business observation. It's like a direct, powerful validation of the kind of thinking biology PhDs develop. That analytical rigor, the questioning mindset, the whole evidence-based approach.
Yeah.
These aren't just niche academic things anymore. They are becoming the absolute most sought-after assets across all sectors. Biotech, pharma, research, you name it.
So our mission today is really to unpack exactly why these traditionally academic skills are becoming the ultimate professional advantage, how they make you indispensable, really, particularly in the dynamic world of biology and scientific discovery. We're going to explore how AI strengths actually spotlight your unique human value. Okay, so let's get into it. The author, this professor teaching financial analysis, he starts integrating AI tools like ChatGPT-5 and Gemini into his class.
Standard practice now almost.
Right. And while the AI was incredibly helpful for lots of tasks, it also highlighted this significant gap, almost an Achilles heel. What did that experience show him about what AI can't do? And what skills did it bring forward from his own PhD background?
It's pretty remarkable, actually, how AI's strengths ironically reveal our human strengths. He quickly realized AI excels at scraping, organizing, synthesizing secondhand information, stuff that's already out there online, basically.
Okay, the known stuff.
Exactly. But it really struggles with extrapolation. That means, going beyond what's widely available to infer something new or connect different pieces of information in a novel way. And this starkly illuminated 4 core PhD-level skills that honestly I see cultivated every single day in brilliant biological minds.
What are they?
Okay, first, an unwavering commitment to keeping all inferences evidence-based. It's not just about finding data, but critically evaluating its source, its validity. For you in biology, that's the backbone of experimental design, right? Peer review. You demand reproducible evidence.
Absolutely. You can't just make stuff up.
Right. Second, the fundamental habit of always asking what the basis for an inference is. AI spits out an answer, but a real scientist, a biologist, immediately asks, okay, how did it get there? What assumptions? What data was it trained on? It's that core scientific skepticism, vital.
Essential for scrutinizing anything, human or algorithm.
Third, the critical ability to learn to ask the right questions. Often, in depth scientific work, the answers themselves are maybe less important than the quality, the direction of the inquiry. It's not just solving problems.
It's defining the right problem to solve in the first place.
Exactly. A skill honed by years of formulating hypotheses. And fourth, a constant drive to push for incremental contribution, always seeking to add something genuinely new to existing knowledge, even if it's a small piece. In biology, that's publishing novel findings, challenging a paradigm, discovering some unknown interaction, not just restating the textbook.
Wow, that connection to the scientific method is it's incredibly striking. Hearing those 4 skills, it sounds exactly like the day-to-day of scientific research. How do you see that playing out in a biology lab right now?
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. A biologist in the lab, they're constantly operating in this mode. You're not just looking up what's known about gene X. You're designing experiments to uncover new functions, new regulatory pathways. You collect data and immediately ask, is this significant? Are my controls solid? Could there be another explanation? You're not just consuming information, you're actively generating it and, crucially, critically evaluating it. It's like the muscle memory of scientific discovery.
Okay, but let's not dismiss AI entirely. We should appreciate what it does incredibly well.
For sure.
The author describes ChatGPT-5 as a very efficient seeker, scraper, and organizer of secondhand information. He gives a great example, comparing Exxon and Chevron on employee perception and regulatory records. A task that would have taken him like 2 hours manually. AI did it in 5 minutes with the right prompts. That's a massive time saver. Frees you up for deeper thinking, surely.
Absolutely. That efficiency is undeniable. But, and this is the crucial caveat, AI tools are excellent at interpolation.
Interpolation.
Yeah, finding answers to common questions by connecting existing digital dots. Think of it like a super librarian pulling together everything known on a topic. But they are not good at extrapolation. Going beyond the obvious, beyond what others have already done or explicitly documented. Imagine asking AI to predict the exact context-dependent function of a brand new protein based on a very short novel gene sequence.
Right.
It'll give you something sensible, probably based on known similar proteins, known homologs, but it might completely miss subtle things. Post-translational modifications, specific cellular environment cues, things a human biologist knows are crucial for its real biological activity.
Because that data isn't widely published or easily modeled yet.
Exactly. It's not in the training set in that specific nuanced way.
And the limitations the author found really drive this home. He asked AI to find companies with the biggest unfunded healthcare plans.
Mm-hmm.
It came back with a report from December 2005.
Wow. Dated.
Simply because no one else online had compiled more current, comprehensive data in a way the AI could easily find and synthesize. Or when he asked why a company's return on invested capital, the ROIC, in its official filings was different from the version used for CEO pay.
Ah, the tricky internal stuff.
Yeah, AI just gave him gobbledygook.
Yeah.
Because that specific nuanced question hadn't been widely asked or answered online. The data points weren't aggregated publicly like that.
Right.
So it highlights that AI reflects what is readily available digitally, not necessarily what should be or what could be if you dug deeper.
Precisely. And that mirrors challenges you definitely face in biology. Imagine asking AI for a complete list of all current clinical trials for a very specific rare genetic disorder.
Okay.
It might pull up a decent list from major databases, clinicaltrials.gov, that kind of thing, but a human expert, someone immersed in that field, they might know through their network or attending conferences about an experimental trial just started at some small university lab that hasn't hit the big databases yet, or a really promising preclinical study in a new animal model.
Stuff that's too new or niche for the AI's broad sweep.
Exactly. AI gives you that snapshot of the known digital landscape, but it struggles with the nascent, the unpublished, the truly cutting edge, which is often where the most exciting biological breakthroughs are happening.
These limitations bring us straight to this critical concept the author talks about, functional fixation, which is the technical term for just consuming information at face value without digging deeper, without seeing the context.
Yeah.
And as AI gets more mainstream, making it so easy to get quick answers, this risk actually increases, doesn't it?
It really does.
Think about it in biology. You can instantly get a gene expression profile for a cell line.
Yeah.
Bam, there are the numbers.
Yep. Looks definitive.
But the superficial user might miss that the data was generated under very specific culture conditions, maybe with a certain drug treatment, or using an assay with no biases, without understanding the methods, the cell growth phase, the stats model used.
Yeah.
You're functionally fixated on the numbers, totally missing their real scientific meaning.
That's a perfect biology example. It raises the big question, how do we fight this functional fixation, especially when AI makes getting an answer so easy?
So what's the answer?
Well, the author argues, and I completely agree, it lies in domain knowledge and what he calls sense-making, or maybe what we'd intuitively call that spidey sense.
Right, the gut feeling.
Yeah, exactly. And that develops through immersive experience, like internships, apprenticeships, or just years grinding away at the lab bench. It's about understanding how all these disparate pieces of information fit together, knowing if data feels right, sensing when something just looks off.
That intuition.
Yes. In biology, it's the intuition you build after countless hours looking down a microscope, noticing a subtle change in cell shape that an algorithm might dismiss as noise, or seeing an unexpected result in an experiment that screams, new pathway, because your expert eye, trained by experience, spots anomalies.
Can you give another biological analogy, like the author's wage bill example?
Sure. Okay, think about protein half-life. AI might pull an average half-life for enzyme Y based on published papers. That's solid.
Okay.
But an expert biologist, someone with deep domain knowledge, knows the actual half-life inside a living cell can swing wildly depending on the cell type, its metabolic state, presence of chaperones, degradation pathways, all sorts of context.
So the average number isn't the whole story.
Not even close. You'd need to pull in data from other places, proteomics studies maybe, or even direct experiments from your own lab to get the real picture for your specific context. Without that dabbling in adjacent areas, without that spidey sense telling you the average isn't enough, you might massively misjudge the enzyme's activity. You know, biology is complex and dynamic.
The author voices a real concern here, and honestly, it's one I hear echoed across many scientific fields too. If entry-level jobs, say in bioinformatics doing basic data analysis or maybe initial literature reviews, start getting handled more by AI.
The grunt work.
Yeah. How will the next generation of biologists actually develop this crucial spidey sense, that hands-on experience, that early grapple with raw, messy data and its context? It seems vital.
It really does.
If machines do all the first-pass data crunching, how do new scientists learn to spot the truly novel, the anomalous, the important stuff without that foundational human-driven experience?
It's a huge challenge for career development. It forces us to rethink training, mentoring, onboarding, how we build that intuition early on.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, the learner, the aspiring or current biologist? The author makes a point that's maybe a bit obvious, but incredibly powerful. The IP of the future is the prompts or the questions we ask the machine. AZ is like this brilliant, massive database. It gives you answers, sure. But are you asking the right questions? Do you have enough of that sense-making, that deep domain knowledge and spidey sense to even know what to ask next? Especially with huge data sets, genomics, proteomics, ecological models.
This just perfectly mirrors PhD training in biology, doesn't it?
It sounds like it.
Doctoral students are constantly pushed to grapple with questions like, okay, what's the real basis for this inference AI made about this biological mechanism? Or when should I trust this gene prediction, and when do I absolutely need to go validate it in the wet lab?
Right. Trust but verify, amplified.
Exactly. Or is this AI-generated protein structure genuinely backed by hard experimental evidence, or is it just a plausible computational guess? How did the original source get their info, and critically, does it even apply to my specific organism or system? These aren't just academic hoops to jump through. They are the absolute driving force behind every good experiment, every solid hypothesis. It's about pushing boundaries, not just compiling existing facts.
And this constant questioning, this rigor, it leads somewhere important.
Yes, it leads directly to incremental contribution. Almost everything known scientifically is, or soon will be, online and findable by AI. Applying existing knowledge is still valuable, of course, for many roles, but the real premium, the highest value, is now even more on coming up with something genuinely new.
Adding to the collective knowledge.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Which means you essentially have to become, as the author vividly puts it, a perpetual hypothesis testing machine. Always observing, always questioning, always designing little experiments, even just thought experiments, to check or challenge what's accepted. True lifelong learning, that innovative spirit, it's not just nice to have anymore. It's going to be the absolute baseline for thriving, especially in biology, where the next big discovery is always just around the corner.
So ultimately, the article leaves us with this profound question. Are we training our professionals, whether they're MBAs or future biologists, in the same way we effectively train PhDs? It strongly suggests maybe it's time we started doing just that, emphasizing these deep, critical thinking skills right from the get-go in education and professional development. So wrapping up our deep dive today, we've really explored why these skills, often tied to advanced research, meticulous evidence gathering, relentless questioning, the drive for novel contributions, are now the ultimate currency in our AI-driven world.
Yeah.
It seems crystal clear that true expertise isn't just about knowing facts anymore. It's about knowing how to think, critically and innovatively.
And for you, particularly if you're in biology or heading that way, this is incredibly empowering news, actually.
How so?
Because you're training. You're training in scientific inquiry, in experimental design, in critical evaluation. It has already equipped you with many of these PhD-level skills. These aren't just abstract academic things you learned. They are the absolute bedrock of adaptability and innovation in today's world. It makes you uniquely positioned to navigate and honestly to lead in this rapidly changing professional landscape.
So embrace the rigor.
Absolutely. Embrace that rigor, that healthy skepticism, that deep-seated curiosity. It's your edge. And maybe this raises an important question for you to mull over. As AI keeps evolving, as it handles more and more of the data collection, the known facts, What unique human questions rooted in your specific scientific domain expertise, fueled by that cultivated spidey sense, will you be equipped to ask? Questions that no machine can even conceive of yet. What novel hypotheses will you form? What new avenues of biological discovery will you champion, truly pushing the boundaries of knowledge in ways only a creative, critical human mind can?
Really makes you think. Think about how you can lean into those critical thinking muscles every single day, in the lab, in the field, planning your next career step. The future truly belongs to those who ask the deepest, most insightful questions.